Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? So if you have ever experienced this taunt glitch, we've put this in to the devs. They do know about it. They understand that it actually happens with more than just Bishop. What am I talking about? What happens is in certain game modes, in fact, I've experienced it in quite a few game modes, Scourge, in Raids, in Cosmic Crucible. Cosmic Crucible, it happens a lot. What happens is the taunt pops up on one of these characters, and whoever you were targeting at the time that taunt came up, your target reticle is stuck on them instead of the person taunting. Now, it only happens for one turn. On the next turn, your target moves to the taunt, and everything's back to normal again. But this can really throw people off in Cosmic Crucible when you expect to go into Bishop when the match first starts, and instead you're stuck on Jubilee, which may not be a bad thing. You can use this to your advantage, especially in situations when like a Strife or a Drax brings it up and you know it's coming. You can have your reticle stuck on the person you want it to be on for that one extra turn ahead of time. So you can use it to your advantage. You can build a team like this specifically to screw with people, putting somebody weak in the middle for their first opening hit, something like that. It sucks that we have to play the game, but be aware this taunt glitch is there, and I just wanted to share that with you guys before we get into Defense Up. Now, we grade on 5 different criteria. It's who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. This is Dizkord's defense, spelled with a Z, and we're starting off with the Mercs. Now, I like this build, actually. Dizkord just foregoed the Merc minions and went with Black Bolt and the Pursuer there, Koreth. For that extra speed, they're pretty quick. Also, they are going to trigger Taskmaster's assist right off the bat, whereas those other two, one does a taunt, one does a speed up maneuver, and it doesn't trigger him. So you're not getting that opening damage with those two. But these guys are fast, and they do trigger Taskmaster. It's pretty cool. Then, of course, you've got Shuri Killmonger, which those two by themselves are throwing people off after that Rakonda rework. So it's a great setup. What I don't like is the ISOs. I think we should be going on this build. I'd like Taskmaster as a skirmisher and these two guys as a striker, so you're getting the triple hit combo on that opening move. Take advantage of that speed. Keep Killmonger as a raider. He gets all that extra crit damage and stuff like that. You could make him a striker also, so that he's also doing a triple tap, but honestly, that crit damage coming off of him is really stellar. I think that's a good fit. Shuri as a healer on this team is fantastic. You could also think about switching her to a skirmisher or a fortifier, depending on the other content that you're using. So there's some options for you. The placement on this team is fine. It's an interesting build. I just don't like the ISO choices. You're getting a weird striker skirmisher not quite combo here because it's the reverse of what you needed to do to get the triple hit combo, but you do get him to come in there and clear a buff on the opening move if there's a vulnerable. You've got the Raider coming out, so I mean it could work this way. So you'll have the Raider and Skirmisher. I just don't like it. I think you should change these guys to Striker and keep Taskmaster as a Skirmisher for this build. Outside of this team, and this team is kind of old and useless, I would recommend going a different way with Taskmaster, using Raider on him as a plug-and-play character, using Skirmisher on him as a plug-and-play character for different content other than this. Honestly, like, I don't even run the Mercs anymore, and they were one of my favorite defensive teams. For me, with these ISO choices, I'm going to give you a C+. I think it's pretty important to change this. You can make this work, but I think, honestly, you're better off with a different setup for those top two characters. All right, team number 2 is a Black Bolt Yo-Yo Shield kind of combo here. You have some synergy going on with that shield tag. Of course, the Black Bolt Yo-Yo calling the assist off of Black Bolt with Yo-Yo's basic, I think it is, or whatever that is. There's synergy there. What I don't understand is why Groot is in here. Now, on your next team, and we're going to talk about both these in conjunction, your next team is the traditional place for Groot to go in place of Ghost, and you can put Ghost over on this team, rewinding turn meter with her attack. Now, you have one skirmisher, one raider, and 2 strikers. So it's a 2-and-2 with Groot as a healer. Don't put Groot as a healer. He has healing in his kit, but he does very little of it. You might as well make him a skirmisher. And then when you put him over on this team, you can change Star-Lord and Rocket to strikers, and you get a quadruple hit combo off of Groot. So That's where I like Groot traditionally. Honestly, the Guardians team is such garbage. It's not worth investing. You already took these guys into the blue ISO. But for other people who are considering using combinations like this, I think put Groot over here as a skirmisher, make Star-Lord and Rocket strikers, keep Minerva as a fortifier and Vision as a raider for his tech team. I think he's going to be doing some awesome raid damage. His focus is really good now. I was missing a few points. He has incredibly good focus now, some of the best focus in the game. So Raider's a great way to go. You need to use Skirmisher. Thank you guys for messaging me on all those points with Vision and how his focus is beefed up now. So in here, yeah, let's get rid of Groot, put Ghost in here. I think it's a better fit. Groot doesn't have hardly any synergy with anybody here, and Ghost at least rewinds the turn meter. She's a great solo plug and play character. With Ghost, I would keep her as a striker. I would change Coulson to a Raider, actually. I'd change Coulson to a Raider with Ghost on this team. He's going to open up big and put vulnerables out there and give more opportunities for Black Bolt and Ghost to do their thing. And I just don't like Groot as a healer. I think that's a big waste. So for me, this team's pretty lackluster. Obviously, the power levels are super wonky. Maybe you're going to catch somebody off guard with that Black Bolt. But if so, you want vulnerables on the field for Black Bolt to double tap into. Another reason to change those ISOs and the people. So a C for this team. And for this team, I'm going to give you a C+. Don't make any changes, Dizkord. It's not worth changing those blue ISO on these team members. Raider on Rocket and Skirmisher on Striker are the secondary, the more native things. It's just if you're going to go for that quadruple hit combo, you need it to be Striker, Striker, and Skirmisher on Groot. So a little bit better here. This team does function well the way it's built. I just think you should, with the two teams in mind, I think you should switch them. Black Order is what it is. Gear tier 12 for those two in there. And then you went, this looks like 14 or 15s on the others. Okay. So pretty lopsided power levels. I think Call Obsidian for sure needs to be brought up. You know, if people get stuck behind his taunt, this team becomes a lot more frustrating. So I think that's one way to go. I think your Cole is probably not going to hold as well as you wanted to. At least change him to a fortifier on this team if you're going to let him be so squishy. Skirmisher Striker couple on the married couple there. I like that. And then you got Skirmisher over here. That's great for that focus boost. And then you went Raider on Thanos. Thanos can be anything you want, really. I like him as a Raider or a Striker, whatever, for the extra damage or crit damage. This is fine. I think just change the ISO to a fortifier on this squishy one or build him up, your choice. You can keep him as a striker. I run mine as a striker, but mine's built up to 14 or 15 also. So I'm going to go A- on that, just a few tweaks there. Team number 5 is the Hero Asgardians. We have fortifier on Sif, which I'm finding out. When this team is built big, I personally, I like Raider across the board, but when this team is built really big and Sif has the resistance to keep that taunt up and you can't get around it, making her a fortifier really makes her just extra annoying to try and get through because you just can't seem to kill her. You can get stuck behind that Sif, so it's pretty crazy. But so like high red stars with like that high focus or that high resistance value with high red stars at a big built Sif, I think go fortifier. Otherwise, you know, Raider for it, who cares? The taunt's going to get stripped at a lower investment level. So just go Raider so you can get some crit damage on that turn 2 attack. Otherwise, Raider across the board is the way I like to go. There's a very good case to be making these two strikers, and that's okay too if that's the way you want to do it. You could consider putting Thor to the outside and allowing the other ones to be hit more, but Thor is built up bigger and you want him to tank more of that centerpiece damage. It's fine. All this works. There's all good reasons for it. So consider some tweaks to Sif. You might want to make her a Raider for the time being, or if you plan on building her up, keep her as a fortifier. I'll go ahead and give you an A for this team. Not too shabby. Team number 6, you have the Uncanny, Astonishing, no, not Astonishing, Uncanny Unlimited. Uncanny, it's the UU team. Okay, with Scarlet Witch, I don't know why Scarlet Witch is in here. Rogue is going to be putting out a lot of negative effects, and then Scarlet Witch can prolong them, but she's not prolonging the trauma. That's okay. There's not a whole lot of negative effects coming out of this team otherwise. So I don't know. I think we got better choices for Scarlet Witch. It works. It's okay. It's something to do, but I'm not really certain that's the way to go. Another way you could go is a pre-taunt tank in here, allowing Phoenix some time to kind of warm up. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out. I just don't see the synergy there with Scarlet Witch. She's great on teams that produce lots of negative effects, like a new warrior team or something like that. So, or if you were going to run your Moon Knight on a defense or something, you know, you put her in there, something like that. I don't know. I'm just not excited about that. Otherwise, I like the ISO choices. Yeah, everything else here works. Remember, folks, when Phoenix dies and comes back as Dark Phoenix, she does not get the she's not a striker when she comes back. She's a nothing, right? She's a nothing. So you don't have to invest high in Phoenix unless you're specifically trying to take her into content where you need those higher ISOs on the team. This team's okay. It works. I'm not excited about Scarlet Witch, but everything else here is pretty functional. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a B+ on this. I just think we can find somebody better than Scarlet Witch, or a better place for Scarlet Witch to go. Team number 7 is the Heroes for Hire. We all love and hate this team. I don't like Healer on your Iron Fist. I think he should be either a Raider or a Skirmisher. Everything that goes into this team uses heal block, and the Healer ISO just doesn't get much use. Otherwise, it's fine. Your placement's fine. Your ISOs are fine. So A- for that team. Team number 8 is the Web Warriors with Doc Ock. Now, basically, Doc Ock is putting deflect on these two. He's also creating a 3-piece target for, you know, when you attack somebody, get adjacent damage, like with Black Order or something like that. You know, you target these 3 and it groups them together, but he is giving out the deflex, but he's also kind of slow compared to this team. They're being sped up with all their evades and stuff like that. So it's kind of a catch-22 for me. I think there's better places for Doc Ock. It's not a bad thing to do, but I think we can do better than this. Honestly, I think just a Spider-Punk in here is going to be as good as Doc Ock. I think Doc Ock's so slow on his flip and stuff. Plus, you've got Miles putting out the disrupt. So there's not going to be a lot of stuff for Doc Ock to flip when he does get around to it. I'm just not excited about this. Okay. You ran Scarlet Spider as a healer. Only crazy people run Scarlet Spider as a healer. Why would you do that? Raider over here, Striker on Miles is correct, and Skirmisher on OG because you don't have him built up as much and you want that big focus bonus to make sure his stuns work. That's usually more of an offensive play. On defense, I think it's better to go Raider. Who cares? You just want that crit damage and stuff like that. But Striker, I'm not going to dock you for it. Skirmisher's a great choice. Yeah, so I think we can find somebody better, but it's not detrimental. I'm going to go A- on this team. Team number 9 is the Young Avengers. You put America Chavez in between Kate Bishop and Echo. Personally, I like to put Squirrel Girl adjacent to Chavez for that speed up on war defense. I find it a little bit tougher when she, you know, she'll be ability blocked, but she'll take her first turn a lot earlier and just work through that ability block a lot faster. I find that to be tougher when I go into the team, but then again, maybe I'm just playing it wrong or differently than most people play. This is still a great choice. Getting Kate Bishop to some of her bigger maneuvers faster is a good choice also. I'm not going to dock you for that by any means. Healer on her isn't necessary, but it also works. I like running Striker on her. A lot of people are talking about putting Skirmisher on Kate Bishop to make sure the blinds land, and that's more valuable than having her double tap with her relatively unexciting damage compared to some of the people on this team. I believe Echo is one of the highest damaged characters in the game, and then you got Kate Bishop, and she's got good damage. I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just saying that making sure the blinds land is a little bit more important. So there's a good case to be made for going Skirmisher if you want to. I wouldn't bother changing it, just like I wouldn't bother changing Squirrel Girl, even though I think Striker is a better choice. It's not worth it with the amount of ISOs that we're getting currently. So everything about this is fine. The important thing is we keep Miss Marvel off the corner, so good job there. I'll give you the A for that one. And team number 10 is the Darkhold team. Let's take a note here. You have Agatha on the outside adjacent to Wong. The reason you're doing that is to make sure that Wong is always the one called on the assist. And so when he assists, he removes a negative effect from his team. Another way you could do this, if you don't want Agatha out on the end and you want to put Wong out on the end, you can put Wong here in Agatha's place. Let's just use the mouse for crying out loud. You can put Wong here on the outside, then Agatha, and then Dormammu. Dormammu isn't Darkhold, so she will still always call Wong for the assist. That's a way you can put Wong on the outside with this team. Otherwise, Striker, Raider, Striker, and Skirmisher. So you got 2 people putting out vulnerables and 3 people soaking them up. Dormammu hardly ever seems to take a turn. I usually go into this team in Arena. I use like a Eternals, Rogue, Emma, and MLF, and I can just destroy this team pretty reliably. However, in war, you don't want to use so many pieces. You don't want to break up so many stuff. So a lot of times people just 2-tap these teams or run a Weapon X over it or something like that. It's totally up to you what you want to do with this team. You've got 6 red stars on MLF, and you're probably going to be putting a 7th yellow star on her soon. So you went with Striker. This is something Reminex has recommended to us, that the high red stars, we switch her over to Striker, and the lower red stars, you keep her as a skirmisher. I haven't tested this out. I'm willing to believe Reminex on this one, and I think it's probably a good choice that you went with Striker. It's frustrating because you've only got 2 people putting out the vulnerables, and you're not going to get as much double tap damage off of that as you normally would. You could run Scarlet Witch in here as a skirmisher or a raider, making up the difference, and then you'd have 3 and 2, and it's better odds that she's going to be able to double tap. But of course, Scarlet Witch is a far inferior version than Dormammu. But of course, there's another thing. You could put Dormammu on a completely different team, and you could have 2 like 90% tough teams rather than 100% tough team. So it's up to you. Reminex says he needs to make the summon from Agatha on her. I see. If she's Striker for the added percent drain. So you want, if she's going to be Striker, you want her adjacent to Agatha. That's a good idea. All right. So there's some things that you can do. I don't think any of these ISOs need to be changed. I think you should decide what kind of placement you want. Do you want MLF adjacent to Agatha? Do you want to just swap places with Agatha and what's his face so that one of them is getting called? I mean, getting those negative effects removed is pretty good, but I haven't been able to test out the Striker on MLF. So let me know. Let me know if the damage is for real, like everybody's saying. It could be something good. I'm going to go ahead and give you an A- for this, only because I think that there's some tweaks that you could do, and you don't necessarily have the optimum build. I want to try some other stuff, and I'm very curious about Striker. So Discords, get back to me on this one. I'm curious how that plays out. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that like button down below. It really helps me out. Subscribe for more videos. I'm trying to put out about 6 videos a week. And remember, guys, don't just have a good game, be good to yourselves and others too, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.